Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital comings and goings. Is Steven Weber returning to GH? General Hospital comings and goings suspect Steven Weber might make his way back to Port Charles after a recent discovery was made on the ABC soap opera. General Hospital comings and goings. Steven Weber back to PC soon? Recent General Hospital comings and goings predict Steven Lars Weber could be back on the canvas soon because of the recent name drop. His sister, Elizabeth Weber, was just talking about him with one of her closest friends, Terry Randolph. Liz mentioned that Steven was out of prison and doing well for himself. It doesn't look like he's a doctor again, but he did find a job in the medical field. Right away, Terry asked Liz if she thought her brother would come home. Liz genuinely had no idea on General Hospital. But she didn't think he would return because of his crazy mother, Heather Weber. However, with the possibility that she might get a retrial and be released from Pentonville, Steven Weber may decide to come back. He may want to try and make sure she stays in prison. Or perhaps it will go the other way and he will want to reconcile with her. But that's doubtful. Even though Heather does love her son, she tormented him and those close to him in the past on General Hospital. It's highly unlikely he will ever forgive her. Chances are, he will laugh at the idea that she has changed, and could try to hurt her case. Indeed, it would be nice to have Steven in PC again. But it also would cause a lot of drama with Heather. Plus, it could shake things up for his ex, Olivia Falconeri, and cause problems between her and her husband, Ned Quartermaine. GH casting updates. Martin Gray resurfaces. In addition to Steven Weber's, Scott Reeves' possible return, another familiar face is back on screen. Legal shark Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight. He's returned to town and seems to be a brand new man. He ditched his beard, cut his hair, and even appeared to have dropped his southern accent. No doubt, this is an attempt to get past the betrayal of his former love, Lucy Coe, Lynn Herring. Indeed, it looked like it worked on General Hospital. But the main reason he's back is to represent Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Grahn. Recently, Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, hired him to defend Alexis, and he's determined to exonerate her for the murder of FBI agent John Jagger Cates, Adam Harrington. But little does Sonny know that Martin's #1 strategy to prove Alexis' innocence is to prove Sonny's guilt. Indeed, things are going to get messy for all of them. General Hospital casting news. Sam McCall dead soon. GH casting news also promises Kelly Monaco is on her way out. She recently filmed her final scenes as Sam McCall and the character is set to die soon. No doubt, many fans are heartbroken over her upcoming exit. Plus, they are trying tirelessly to get her rehired. Additionally, Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, is sticking around to represent Heather Weber, Allie Mills. Also, Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens, returns soon with a new face. And it seems she finally wakes up from her 4-year-long coma. Another fan-fave return who looks different is Lucas Jones, Van Hansis. And his ex-husband, Brad Cooper, Perry Shen, recently resurfaced also. More General Hospital casting updates wonder if newcomer Isaiah Gannon, Sarandy Wilson, will be hanging around. No doubt, he has chemistry with Deputy Mayor Jordan Ashford, Tanisha Harper. GH is thrilling and unpredictable lately. Be sure to watch daily to see if Steven Weber comes home to Port Chuck on the ABC daytime drama. 4 years, whispers of Steven Lars Weber's return have floated through the halls of General Hospital like a ghostly breeze. Faint, persistent, impossible to ignore. Elizabeth Weber had nearly learned to tune them out. Nearly. But Port Charles had a way of resurrecting the past at the exact moment you least expected it. Or least wanted it. A call from the past. It began with a phone call. Elizabeth's shift had just ended, and she was gathering her things from the nurse's station when Epiphany's old voicemail alert chimed. A sound GH still hadn't managed to update. She frowned, glanced at the display, and froze. Unknown Federal Detention Center. Her breath caught. She pressed play. Liz. It's me. Her bag slid from her shoulder and hit the floor. Steven's voice. Older. Rougher. But unmistakably her brother. I'm being released. There's more to explain, but I'm coming home. Elizabeth sank into the nearest chair, her heart racing as 10 years of unresolved guilt, grief, and love crashed over her. Steven Weber. After all this time, the storm arrives. Word spread fast, first through the hospital grapevine, then through the always listening streets of Port Charles. By the time Elizabeth made it home, Cameron and Jake were already buzzing with questions. Violet had drawn a "Welcome Uncle Stephen" poster, and Finn, who'd grown distant, unsure of where he even stood with Liz these days, looked quietly worried. "What does this mean for you?" he asked softly. "I don't know," Liz admitted. "But I need answers." She didn't have to wait long. As she crossed GH's front entrance, a man in a dark jacket stepped out of a rideshare car. Sunlight caught his features, and there he was. Older, leaner, but still Stephen. Elizabeth stopped. Her throat tightened. He smiled, cautiously. "Hey, sis." She launched herself at him, shadows in his wake. As they embraced, someone across the street lowered his phone, slipped into a black SUV, and vanished. Stephen's return had not gone unnoticed. Inside the hospital, reactions were mixed. Monica welcomed him cautiously. Carly raised an eyebrow, muttering, "Here we go again." Anna Devane, however, had a different expression altogether. Concern. Stephen Weber's release wasn't sanctioned through WSB channels, she told Jordan later. Somebody pulled strings. Big ones. And when someone pulls strings in Port Charles, there's always a price. Rebuilding and reckoning. For the first few days, Stephen settled quietly into family life. He visited Audrey's grave. He spent hours catching up with Elizabeth and the boys. He even apologized to Monica again, though she insisted she had long forgiven him. But Liz could tell something was off. One night on her porch, she finally asked, "Why now, Stephen? What changed? This wasn't just early parole." Stephen's jaw tightened. "I can't talk about it. You have to trust me." He stood, pacing. "If I tell you, Liz, you and the boys could be in danger." Elizabeth felt ice in her veins. In danger from what? Stephen exhaled slowly, the weight of a decade pressing down on him. "I didn't just serve time," he murmured. "I made a deal. With someone powerful. Someone who expects me to finish what I started. The secret mission." The next day, Anna intercepted Stephen in a GH hallway. "You and I need a conversation," she said. Stephen didn't deny it. Instead, he followed her into her office, shut the door, and finally told the truth. 10 years earlier, after his incarceration, Stephen had been recruited by a covert agency operating outside official channels. He was embedded in a prison medical ring tied to international organ trafficking. He'd helped dismantle it, but not all the players were arrested. One slipped through the cracks. And now that man, Rafael Mendez, a surgeon-turned-criminal warlord, was reportedly operating in the Northeast, using hospitals as his hunting grounds. "He contacted me," Stephen told Anna quietly. "He wants me back. And he knows where my family is." Anna's expression hardened. "This is bigger than a reunion. You're being hunted. Danger in Port Charles." The first sign of trouble came that evening. Elizabeth was closing up the art room at GH when lights flickered. Footsteps approached behind her. "Liz Weber," a voice whispered. She turned, and a masked intruder lunged. Before she could scream, a second figure tackled the attacker to the floor. Liz scrambled back, heart pounding, as the mask slipped off her would-be assailant. Rafael Mendez stared up at her, his eyes cold and feral. Stephen arrived seconds later, breathless. "Liz!" Anna and Jordan crashed in behind him, guns raised, but Mendez was already scrambling through a side exit, disappearing into the night. The message was clear. This wasn't over. The emotional fallout. After the attack, Elizabeth confronted Stephen at her house while EMTs checked her blood pressure. "You said you'd keep us safe," she whispered, shaking. "You should have never come here if you knew he followed you." Stephen swallowed hard. "I came back because you were already in danger. I couldn't let him touch you." Her anger softened, but only slightly. "What does he want with you?" Stephen hesitated. "I know too much about his operation. He wants me silent, or working for him again." Elizabeth shivered. "You're not going anywhere near him." Stephen met her eyes with a haunted expression. "I don't have a choice." A brother's sacrifice. The next morning, The hospital was crawling with security. Anna devised a plan using Stephen as bait to trap Mendez. Stephen agreed immediately. Elizabeth didn't. You can't keep paying for mistakes you made years ago, she pleaded. It's not about mistakes, Stephen said gently. It's about ending this for good. That night at Pier 55, Stephen waited under dim floodlights as undercover officers hid in position. Wind whipped off the water. Mendez emerged from the shadows, smiling. You always were predictable, Stephen. But before he could strike, Anna signaled. Spotlights flashed. Officers swarmed. Mendez lunged with a scalpel, aiming not for Stephen, but for Elizabeth, who had insisted on staying close despite orders. Stephen moved instinctively. He took the blow. Mendez was captured. But Stephen collapsed in Elizabeth's arms, blood soaking her scrubs. Stay with me, she cried. His eyes fluttered. I came home to protect you. That's all that mattered. Second chance. Hours later, in a GH hospital bed, Stephen woke to Elizabeth squeezing his hand. Tears streamed down her face. You're staying, she whispered. Poor Charles needs you. I need you. He smiled faintly. I'd like that. Anna stepped into the room, arms folded. Your deal with the agency is void. You're a free man, Stephen. And we could use a doctor with your skills in Port Charles. Monica later confirmed it. Stephen Weber had been reinstated, pending review. His future was no longer a question mark. It was a second chance.